Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today is my third and final attempt at 5-0ing for a trophy and a $300 bounty. So in the first one, scoreboard said 4-1. In my heart, that one was a 5-0. We timed out to an opponent who removed all of their stops. The second league did not go well. We got really unfavorable pairings for the deck, multiple Cloud Post decks, and I think there was one other just degenerate combo deck that we didn't work well against. And today I'm going to try out Thomas Enevoldson's 60 card Death and Taxes list from last month. The reason I'm trying this one out is honestly because I'm sick right now and I have more reps with 60 card than 80 cards Death and Taxes, and I haven't had a lot of time to give lists thought, so I'm just going to default to the thing that is going to be easiest for me to pilot. I've got like a head cold right now, and this is one of those things where the show must go on. There'll be a content interruption of some kind next week as I kind of heal up and recover, but I'm obligated under international law to finish this. Otherwise, everyone in the YouTube comments is going to be like, "Where's part 3?" All right. So essentially, there's nothing too exciting going on with this. There's not too many flex slots in 60 card DNT. The flex slots here are basically going towards a timeless dragon in the main deck, two Spirit of the Labyrinths, and a Sanctum Prelate. As far as the sideboard goes, there's a decent amount of anti-combo stuff of various nature here, and a lot of older tech like Cataclysm that isn't seeing a lot of play anymore. In the Yorion deck lists, you really want to just like have more copies, or not more copies, you want to have more lands because you have things like Solitudes to hardcast, which just aren't in this deck. Um, I'm just gonna jump right into it and just kind of like battle, and let's see how it goes. I'm going to keep this hand. This is a highly variable hand. If I am paired against a popular deck like Delver that Source of Plowshares is good against, this hand is going to be fantastic. And if I'm paired against a combo deck, this one's going to be kind of rough. Um, if my opponent is playing a Stifle and I Wasteland this, I think it's super bad for me. I think I'm just going to go ahead and lead on Ether Vial here. All right, long think from our opponent. They've pitched an Uro, so we're not playing against a Delver deck here. We're playing against a control deck, unfortunately. Potentially some 3 to 4 color pile. Oh, well, I'm actually pretty happy to see that because now my Source of Plowshares have reasonable targets. Guess I'll Wasteland. I think I'll do this playing around Days. I don't know if that's something I need to be playing around, but it's something I have the luxury of playing around here. And I think I take the green source out here. The green source is more likely the source that represents further creatures getting into play. And if Uro is in my opponent's deck, Okay. Well, there goes my removal. I mean, I guess I still have a Skyclave, but I was not expecting him to Turok from the Uro deck. I guess that means my opponent is strictly Bug. Okay. This is a very good setup for me now. So I have Taxation in play. I get to stop my opponent's cantrips. I have a removal spell in hand for something like an Uro. My opponent doesn't have green mana for something like a Witherbloom command right now, which I'm guessing is their like expressive iteration type card. Nice. Now I can't play my Jitte because of my own Thalia here, but that's okay, right? Like I'm just very, very, very far ahead here. And my opponent has bricked on lands again, unfortunately for them. That's a brick of a draw for me. Again, though, scoreboard. This one's gonna go fast unless my opponent draws a land. I mean, that's a land, but you may absolutely hit me. That's fine. I'll get this Jitte into play. Crash in for 5. I'm representing lethal next turn. Yep. All right, good stuff. How do I want to approach this game? Probably like Rest in Peace. I probably like Council's Judgment. I can consider Cataclysm. I don't know exactly what my opponent's build is going to look like. I don't want to sideboard too much. Like, I feel like my deck's probably fine here. Like, I probably don't want Sanctum Prelate. Like, against bug decks, generally speaking, they have removal at multiple numbers, so you don't get to shut down everything with Prelate. I'm always bringing in Rest in Peace. Opponent's deck kind of feels like Blue Jund. I'm bringing in Rest in Peace. Like, the Timeless Dragon becomes a little bit more awkward, but, like, it's a very reasonable card in the hand for the hands where I don't have the Rest in Peace. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to fall on that. I'll probably just board it out because I like Council's Judgment better. And how do I feel on, like, Flicker Wisp? I didn't see, like, Baleful Strix, but it's something that reasonably could be in my opponent's deck. I like flyers for the time where, like, the board is just stalled and my opponent has Tarmogoyfs and stuff. The Tarmogoyfs are going to be pretty good because I have things like Spirit of the Labyrinth that are just going to grow them by more. Cauldra seems really hot in this matchup. I can increase my removal density slightly, I think, and call that good. Yeah, this looks pretty solid. I'll keep this. Oh, I forgot to sub out my Plains art. League is ruined. Alright, decent draw. No end step Brainstorm or anything from my opponent here. They play an early Tarmogoyf, they'll just Swords to Plowshare it. Yeah, for the sake of my mana efficiency, because I'm about to either play Athalia or Wasteland my opponent, I think I do just go ahead and snag that. I have 2 more removal cards in hand. I don't really want to eat a Hymn to Torok right now. I kind of want to just eat that Bayou. And then just kind of reset the board. I have 2 more lands in hand, one of which answers an Uro. Okay, my opponent has made a new land drop. That's fine. I'm probably not showing the Caracas this turn. I'm just going to play a Thalia out. Ooh, Brainstorm in response. Absolutely. All right, my Thalia sticks. We'll see what happens with this Brainstorm. Ooh, it's not a Fetch Declare. Or correction, they're thinking about it. Okay, they're keeping. Okay. I don't like that they have the Wasteland, because I really wanted to be able to protect this Thalia. Or, like, have this as a long-term out to an Uro. That's a little annoying. It also means that I might not have a great play to do with my own mana on my turn. Okay, found one. So I'll poke in with Thalia. It's at 22. I will just go ahead and play out this Spirit of the Labyrinth. My opponent can still technically force. More worried about, like, a Toxic Deluge type card, though, honestly. Plague Engineer is pretty bad, too. Leovold's fine. Do I Council's Judgment that? I maybe just Council's Judgment that. That's awkward. I don't want to give my opponent a 3/3 creature with a Skyclave dying, is the thing with the current board state. So I think that's going to be my plan, is go ahead and do this whole Council's Judgment thing. Take this out of the way, crash in for 5, hope opponent Wastelands me, brings back Uro. Ooh, there are Dazes in there. Do I attack with Spirit? I don't think I attack with Spirit. Ah, this card's too valuable. Trying to finagle. Okay, great. Finishing my thought, I'm trying to finagle this situation where, like, my opponent's Wasteland gets used. And then I can, like... that's interesting. Now I probably just play this out. Oh, this is awkward for me in terms of attacking here. And straight up bounce Leovold. Opponent draws a card off Leovold. Like, so bad if my opponent has, like, an Abrupt Decay type card and I do try to make an attack in. Like Caracas and pass. Maybe I just play Caracas and pass and, like, bounce Leovold end of turn when my opponent can't actually draw a card with it. Yeah, I think I like that. Alright. Just trying to, like, tax my opponent's mana here rather than worry about finishing the game. As this game goes on, I just get closer and closer to Cauldra finishing out the game. And as long as I have Uro covered, which I do on, like, 3 different levels, not, well, really 4 if you also count Spirit, like, I'm not really in danger of dying. Okay, sure. Alright. Wow. That's a card I haven't seen in a hot minute. Probably junk my Thalia here. Turns on Force of Will, but I don't think that's that big of a deal right now. Alright, goodbye, Thalia. Okay. So I know that my opponent has played their land drop. They can't possibly do anything else with this Leovold. In which case, let's go ahead and just bounce that there. So notice opponent didn't actually get to draw a card there. I'll get to just attack and kill this Liliana. Alright. Bye. Playing this just, like, so conservatively. Oh. Fine. Alright. That's fine. Like, I have other answers to the Uro. So they'll just go to second main phase to do that whole mana song and dance. Oh, that's a nuisance. Might want to Skyclave that and save the swords to plowshares for, like, Uro timing. This also just allows me to get a creature on board. Or if I do end up drawing Jitte specifically. Jitte's not exactly great in this matchup. But before I know whether or not my opponent has Baleful Strix, I don't know whether or not I want to be, like, boarding that out. With 2 counters sitting on it, it can also answer the Plague Engineer type cards, so, like, that's whatever as well. Okay, no shuffle there. Hymn to Turok, oddly, is the card I don't want my opponent to have. Sure. Guess I'm Skyclaving that. I don't really like storing 3 drops under Skyclaves. They trade really well with my other bodies and set up, like, combat blowouts. I like keeping the instant speed one for Uro if possible. Alright. Opponent gets a card there. I junk Leovold. I'll play out a Mom. I'll crash in for 2, and I won't Swords to Plowshares and Uro on my opponent's turn, because my opponent has shown me days already. Yeah. That unfortunately clears the way for Uro. This is the sort of thing that I did not want to happen. Alright. Well, opponent's at 19. I cast this. I end up in a situation where I eventually throw everything in front of the bus to stop an Uro. I'm not there right now. I can't beat the tokens, realistically, that end up coming afterwards. Got 2 Caracas to draw, 2 Swords of Plowshares, a Council's Judgment. Okay. That's brutal. They love you. Okay, my opponent does have Baleful Strix, so I like keeping Jitte in then. I will just take this out now while my opponent is tapped out and can't brainstorm for an answer. I don't think I like these attacks currently. Again, I have things like Jitte or a Mother of Runes that I could draw that make these better. I might trade with this, though. I think I will trade with that. Gives my opponent a 3/3 instead of a 2/2, but then my humans become live draws again, which is something that I very much need. Holy hell, how many of these are there? Or is this that same, like, Leovold again and again and again? Alright, I bounced it before. Okay. So this means future Uros are not a big deal. Future Tarmogoyfs are not a big deal. Ooh. I'm gonna be dead in about 2 turns. Right? Like, this is 7 if my opponent attacks all out. Yeah. I go to 6. My opponent just kind of turned the corner on that game and found another Uro. Okay. Maybe we just ended up with too much. Wow. Okay. That's fine. Alright, given what I saw, do I want even more removal? Like, do I want Solitudes? They're okay. My Mother of Runes get considerably worse when I know my opponent is playing Plague Engineer. I'll play 2 Solitudes. Also not crazy to play Cataclysm if I know my opponent is playing Planeswalkers like Lily of the Veil. But I think my game plan most of the time is going to be, like, resolve a Stoneforge and just win with a piece of equipment. Yeah, I'll keep this. This just plays Stoneforge into Stoneforge and hopes that one of them can cheat Cauldra into play. Yeah, that's not a Thoughtseize on one. That's what I care about. Days into Thoughtseize would be pretty damn good against me here. But I think I am just jamming here. Nice. Grab Cauldra. We have too much equipment, not enough land here. But this is very good if my opponent can't answer this creature this turn. Let's see what they can do. Oh, no. That does not answer a Cauldra. Snuff out. Okay. Wild. I thought I was safe a little bit too soon. I like this. I'm going to play around Days rather than play around second Snuff out. I don't believe I have another piece of equipment. Nope. Now I will attack the black mana, as that is the color of mana that kills Stoneforge. Now my opponent could wasteland me back here. Alright. I absolutely get in there with Baleful Strix. Collector Roof is fine. I have a Solitude for if that becomes relevant. But we're 100% just throwing a Cauldron into play and starting to go to town. Yeah. This is a pretty fast clock, and I have an Edict effect covered because I have a Stoneforge in play already. Uro, that's good, but fine. I'll let that hit play for now. I'm not going to like Solitude it out immediately because there's worlds where I want to remove Collector Roof. Okay, the Strix is not coming in. I'll take my 2. Don't mind Swords of Plowshares, that answers Uro. I'll crash in for 5 and then intend on putting in a Batter Skull. Yeah, absolutely. Ponder away. Do I need to be playing around Sudden Edict? Wonder if I need to be playing around Sudden Edict. Guess I'm not going to do it because if my opponent had Sudden Edict in hand, they could have done it already. Okay. They're just going to get their Uro into play. That's fine. They go up to 9. Oh, Wasteland is good for them. Okay. I'll respond by creating a Batter Skull. I do lose that land. So I guess let's start here. Evoke this, getting rid of one of these Thalias. And use this to junk the Uro. Now let's attempt to Swords of Plowshares Baleful Strix. Again, like a daze can happen. A daze did not happen. In which case I will hit my opponent for 9. Okay, opponent is just going to take the chump here. That's fine. That chump means I don't have lethal next turn. I only have 10 damage next turn. Plague Engineer is fine. Also on Germ? Also on Germ. Okay. I don't think I want to attack with this, right? Like, I just get 3 in, play Jitte, and just, like, take a couple turns to clean out this game. Yeah, that feels fine. Destructible's a hell of a drug. And I don't open this up to counter magic at all because I just have Jitte in hand. Evold's annoying. Oh. That's fine. I'll eat that damage. Go to 17. Put in a Jitte. I can go for the kill here. I don't know that I need to go for the kill here. I don't think I need to go for the kill here. My opponent hasn't shown me any sort of like Brazen Borrower type card here. I can attack with this. I don't think I'm going to. All right, nice. So this really means that this just attacking on its own is lethal next turn. Do I even play anything? I just attack with my Cauldron Germ. I just plus it twice, take out my opponent's board, and still have a dominant position. Yeah, let's just send on in with this. I want my opponent to be the first one to blink here. Okay, there's the concession, and we're 1-0 starting this off. I mean, that's what we need to do. We got to get hype, right? Got to get that trophy. Okay. I believe that my opponent is a sneak and show player here, and I'm on the draw. And is a little fat heavy. I'd really like Thalia or Spirit of Labyrinth in my starting hand. This is a hard matchup. Like, Stoneforge for Cauldron is a lot of pressure. I'm gonna go ahead and mulligan. No. Not gonna do it. Okay. This is how we lose my trophy, huh? Alright. I mean, on 4, this is about as good as I could hope for. That was a rough start, though. I'm gonna be very bad versus the Omniscience hands here, but like that's usually going to be the case. So, I do not want to draw another Thalia there. I have first Thalia. I don't need second Thalia right now. Thalia is really too slow on the draw, honestly. It's like Lotus Petals and Ancient Tombs can come down this turn, and like turn 2 Show and Tell is very possible. Turn 3 can happen, even through my Thalia if my opponent has a Soul Land next turn. Alright, so they got Volcanic Island, which means Sneak Attack is a thing. So I'm not just Stone Cold Dead immediately. Alright, single cantrip, no shuffle. I think I am going to play the Thalia rather than play like Mom plus Caracas. In order for me to eat a sneak attack next turn, my opponent would have to have like Force of Will plus Daze plus Soul Land plus Petal, and that's a lot. All right. I mean, do you have exactly sneak attack plus Fatty? I mean, what do you want me to do there? I narrated like the extreme sequence of events that would have to happen in order for me to take that damage this turn, and it happened. All right. Ugh. Okay. So we would, if I would have held up, I would have still lost that one because the Grizzlebrand would have drawn and found the Emrakul. I would have like lost these 2 lands. I would have been at 5 with the Caracas left. That's not happening. All right. This is a very tough matchup, and we lost game 1, which is not where I want to be. Um, Definitely bringing in these 5 cards on the left. These 4 cards on the right are kind of whatever. I will probably play Solitude. Council's Judgment is a little iffier. Don't really want Jitte. Don't really want Timeless Dragon. Skyclaves are good against Sneak Attack, but it's really hard to catch Sneak Attack in a position where I can eat it. If I have my opponent's deck list up, or what they recently 5-0'd with, and they have Kozilek's Return and Fury and Engineered Explosives, all of which make Mother of Runes worse than normal, so I'm probably going to board that out. That gets me most of this stuff and not Council's Judgment. Swords of Plowshares is really medium. There's a Malevolent Hermit in the sideboard. I don't care too much about that. Might go like down 3 Swords to Plowshares, play 2 Council Judgment for the times where my opponent passes the turn with like an Omniscience or a Sneak Attack in play, but can't do a follow-up thing with it. But really hoping to dodge this matchup, if I'm being honest. This is pretty respectable. Just turn 1 Vial, turn 2 Chalice on 1. Turn 3, put in Spirit of Labyrinth off Vial, and start working towards like recruiter lines involving Flicker Wisps that keep me safe from an Omniscience. Uh, we'll see how it goes. But if my opponent can just go turbo here and just like go off on turn 2 or something, they're gonna beat me. And that makes me nervous. Can't port here because of that land, which is super unfortunate for me. I think I'm locked into this line. Okay, I've prompted the fetch into Brainstorm. Are we resolving? We're resolving. That doesn't guarantee victory, though, folks. Like, a show and tell can just happen right here, and it's incredibly awkward for me. Ooh, nice. Am I just porting? Feel like I'm just porting. Gotta watch out for a braid on end step here. Try to constrict mana. Okay. Opponent doesn't have it all yet. I think this is a Spirit of the Labyrinth situation. Don't think this is Stoneforge and just go aggro as quickly as possible. I think this is a continue to disrupt to the best of my ability situation. I'll crash in for 3. Port denies more mana than Thalia. I think I'm just going to port. I need to keep my opponent off of just like playing show and tell type cards. The Furies are what are going to get me, because I can Recruiter for a Sanctum Prelate and be pretty safe against a lot of my opponent's stuff. But then Fury still beats me, which is unfortunate. All right, Recruiter happens. Yes. There it is. Sanctum Prelate. Say no to this. Really want more land. So let's go ahead and crash on in here. My opponent for 4. Guess because of a braid, I do this in my opponent's upkeep. It's a little weird, though. There's a couple 3 mana instants I potentially have to worry about. Go ahead and tap down the Ancient Tomb. We'll go ahead and put this in. Sanctum Prelate on 3. And then hopefully I keep my opponent off of 4 mana for the rest of the game. Or as long as they don't have a Lotus Petal, it's fine, because I just eat this with Skyclave. I'm going to do this pre-combat. I don't think my opponent has a Spirit Guide, but I cannot afford to be wrong here. Skyclave, Heat Sneak Attack. So this is 6 damage, bringing my opponent to 6. I probably port my opponent off of Volcanic Island this turn cycle for main phase red, because I have lethal on board. Um, but again, though, a Fury still absolutely wrecks me here. Okay, got a little lucky there in terms of dodging a couple of things that would have beat me. Fury and Kozilek's Return both would have been very, very, very good. I do not think I am going to make any adjustments here. The game on the draw is considerably harder. This is a medium opening hand. Is medium good enough when my opponent has mulliganed already? There's a few things to like about it, but my Spiral Labyrinth, Deafening Silence, Containment Priest, Chalice hands are all probably better than this. Ignoring Batterskull, like, this is a very good 6-card hand. I would keep this on 6. I keep it. I'm not ecstatic, but, like, Spirit, Wasteland, Vile, Deafening Silence, Containment Priest, Flicker Wisp, all vastly improve this hand. Oh, once opponent starts going to 5, I like that. In the times where they don't just, like, have it all in the opening hand, like, my Thalia and Port can do so much more work. Okay. Recruiter is a medium quality draw there. Alright. Port is safer, Thalia is better long term. Going to take the thing that's better long term and kind of force my opponent to use a counterspell if they have one here. Like, Force of Wills and Dazes are good for me because they set my opponent back on one axis or another. Alright, are we resolving? Alright, we're resolving. Makes me nervous. Oh, that's insane. I'm very happy with that draw. Let's get in there for 2, and then we'll put Sanctum Prelate on 3 and hope it works. Opponent didn't counterspell last turn. Alright, there it is on 3. Kozilek's Return and Fury are things that can happen to mess up my current board state. Otherwise, my opponent could play Soul Land, Sneak Attack, but probably not go off. Okay, that's fine. They just play Soul Land, Sneak Attack, pass turn. I Skyclave that. Okay, made it another turn. Very happy with this draw. I can bash in for 4 and then play Stoneforge, fetching Cauldra while also porting. That is fantastic for me. Okay, nice. This is going to be uncomfortably close, but I'm currently looking like I'm on the right side of the equation. Again, those Fury type cards can do disgusting things here. All right. Fury, Kozilek's Return. Fury. Where are we going? Okay, they are taking out the Thalia. Okay, please don't have a pedal. Nice. Okay. So, that means 3 mana for Skyclave. Skyclave that. Bash in for 2. Now, this is still on 3, which is shutting off Kozilek's Return and Show and Tell, so that probably means I just attack the Volcanic Island for the rest of the game. Alright, nice. I can also just really constrict my opponent's mana, like porting both City of Traders and Volcanic Island for the rest of the game. No shuffle off the Ponder. Flicker Wisp is not bad. I'm gonna go ahead and crash in for 4. I could play one more creature. I could play a Flicker Wisp and then have lethal next turn. I really like having the Flicker Wisp in hand, though. On the off chance that a Show and Tell somehow happens, I think I'm just going to double port. Let's port Volcanic Island. And port City. There's a Brainstorm. If my opponent Brainstorm locks themselves here, like, that's the end of the game. There's a follow-up Ponder, presumably to shuffle. Alright. Oh, I love drawing that Solitude. Alright, I've got a couple of dubious layers of protection here. So, tap Volk, nice. Tap City. We didn't get, like, abraded in response here. Okay. All right, we're still in that trophy race. The hype meter is a building. All right. Bad news here. I believe we've just gotten paired against Cloud Post. I am probably just going to keep this Aether Vial starting hand and hope that I can leverage early Spirit of the Labyrinth beats coupled with endgame Recruiter of the Guard Flickerless Chains to just close out this game. I don't want to preemptively mulligan in case this player is not playing Cloud Post, but I think overwhelmingly they play Post. All right. Plains Vial go. Ooh, okay. I mean, if this is a Kappa Cannoneer deck, I also don't beat that. So that's a thing too. Hopefully Spirit of the Labyrinth on turn 2 is good. Second Thoughtcast on turn 1. Good God. Okay. Sure. That's their third Thoughtcast effect on turn 1. Wow. Oh, they're still going. Fourth on turn 1. Okay. That was rough. Okay, I think I just 100% have to play Spirit of the Labyrinth here. Just like non-negotiable has to happen. Okay, good. It has resolved. So I'm taking 4 in the air a turn cycle. I have a Batterskull in hand. I can Stoneforge for Cauldra. I get to do a whole lot of stuff uncounterably. I get to bounce that to my opponent's hand so that that doesn't matter. Build one of these. Card is better than it looks. Okay, sure. Yeah, these baubles are fine. Like, these are very slow cantrips in the face of a Spirit of the Labyrinth. I'm gonna take 4 this turn. So basically, I'm just hoping to dodge my opponent drawing a Kappa Cannoneer. Like, that is going to be the thing that will just handily beat me. And it's kind of awkward this turn. I just physically cannot leave this Emery in play. I can't let my opponent get that Shadow Spear or something worse. Let's go ahead and send that back. Do I ever want a Jitte? No, Jitte's pretty awkward right now. Just kind of use my mana inefficiently. Bash in for 3. Opponent's at 17. My Chalice on zeros are gonna look real hot on this in this matchup. Council's Judgment is okay. Solitude's okay. Rest in Peace is A, B, question mark playable. Sure. Okay, that's a 2/2 flyer. That's fine. A lot of pressure in terms of my life total on the other side of the battlefield. I have to put the Batterskull in first instead of the Cauldra. Pick up the Cauldra and pick this up. Alright. 2 mana, put in Batterskull. I can Recruiter and then do something else for 2 mana. I kind of feel like my Recruiter is supposed to get me a Flicker Wisp, though. I also don't really want to, like, cast something and then have that, like, basically lose me the game on the spot. I can get another Spirit of the Labyrinth, and then I can attack with the first Spirit of the Labyrinth this turn, actually. But there's so many worlds where I need to get a Flicker Wisp just to have a flying blocker. So there's exactly 1 copy of this that could bounce one of my creatures. It's super relevant, though, so I don't think I get to make a Spirit of the Labyrinth attack here. I don't think I can tap this Mother of Runes unless I really, 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 really have to. Alright, you coming in for 6? What I thought. So I'll eat that and go to 6. Okay, that's fine. Fine. End step, I'll go ahead and activate this. Yes. Recruiter. Trigger. Yes. I'm gonna look at everything else, but I just want flyers here. And I'll activate my Stoneforge. Put in the Batterskull. You get your draw. You're leaving this on 3. I don't mind a port. Let's go land drop. Activate a Stoneforge. Put in a Cauldra. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh no, that's awkward. 5, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Or no, it's 14, not 15. So it's not awkward. 5, 9, 10, 13 damage. Yeah, it's the other Otawara on the Germ. I think you're actually... Oh, wait, on the Germ? On the Germ? Not the Batterskull itself? Oh, hell yeah. Oh, wait. Do you count as blue? Yeah, this is a colorless card, right? So I can't actually protect from that. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Opponent goes to 4. I still very much have my bases covered. I'll Rashad port down an island. Bobble's fine. Bobble's fine. Uh-huh. That's fine. So I have very much more than lethal here. My Spirit of the Labyrinth can't leave play. Um, I think I'm just going to blink out one of their thought monitors rather than like blink my batter skull here. But that gives them a blocker. I don't have to worry about like a Spirit of the Labyrinth. I have very, very, very much more than lethal. No, I'll still do this. They're not drawing cards because of Spirit of the Labyrinth. Okay, there's the concession. All right. Palace good. Deafening Silence is okay. Council's Judgment is an active answer to a Kappa. Solitude's Cataclysm and Rest in Peace are all Like, I can consider them. I don't really like Jitte here. It can technically pick off smaller stuff, but it's so much of a mana investment against this deck. And some of the smaller things that I want to pick off, like Sai, and Emery, just have like an awkward amount of toughness. Let's send that back. My other runes are kind of whatever. Like, they're not going to stop Kappas. They can be okay at stopping Thought Monitors. I shouldn't lose the game to Thought Monitor beatdown most of the time anyway, and a lot of the things that I care about on the other side of the battlefield are colorless. I'm gonna junk some number of those. Those not answering Otawara. Rough. Didn't realize that until pretty late into that match. So that gives me these. And from there, I kind of have like the medium caliber things that I can play. Timeless Dragon can also probably get cut. That gives me 2 slot. Those can be Deafening Silence. On the draw, it's maybe supposed to just be Solitude and just like forego Deafening Silence on the draw. I'm not sure. I think on the draw I'm going to play Solitude and not Deafening Silence, and then on the play, if we go to another game, I'll reevaluate. Um, Medium caliber hand. Not going to be good enough against a bunch of my opponent's absolute best draws, but it will be more than enough against like an Emery-centric start. Or an Urza Saga-centric start. Fine. Yup. Alright, great. So I will just wasteland, essentially, and restart this game. Blow up Urza Saga. And kind of hope that that's what my opponent kept their hand based on. Very soft to a Kappa Cannoneer getting into play. Okay, that's a Thought Cast. That's fine. That's really neutral as Lotus Petal. Alright. I will try to get my unfair thing going. I'm unsure whether or not I will just, like, port next turn. Alright, opponent played an Otawara into a Sai, which is fine. I will probably just Caracas that on my turn. Is there a world where I just want to Solitude that so that I can Rashad and port my opponent, though? There actually might be. Yeah, I actually don't think I want to use an entire mana to continuously deal with this Sai. I have a lot of stuff to do with my own mana right now. Let's just junk that Sai when my opponent is low on resources. They turn the Mox Opal into a Thopter, which is fine. And then there's Legend Rule. Pick this up. I'll port my opponent and work towards getting a Cauldra into play. Okay, sure. Alright, Emery. Now that I have 3 mana, I can continuously bounce that. Yeah, okay, that Emery can never untap and do its thing. That will be disastrous for me. Alright, I'll take 1. Pick that up. Ooh. The world where I want to play Thalia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's exactly enough to get a Kappa into play if I play a Thalia and my opponent has a Kappa in hand. Oh, actually, this is not on yet. I risk getting Kappa into play if I don't port forever. I probably have to port forever. Alright. Operation Port Forever is a go. And do a whole, like, sad legend ruling thing with my Caracas next turn so that I can end up like activating Cauldra and getting a real clock into play because I need to close out this game. I have temporary control, but that's not going to last. All right, down to 18. What's the follow up? Okay, they're just gonna make me continuously commit my mana towards that. That's fine. All right, dismembers are a thing that I have to think about. There's Stoneforge. Yes. There's Cauldra. Needs to stay at 2, I think. I think I need to put that Thalia in. Alright. I have to wait a turn on the Cauldra since my opponent replayed the Emery. I think this means I'm just attacking in for 1 and porting. I don't want to get hasty here and lose the game for getting hasty. Because I'm in pretty good position right now. I guess there's a world where I could consider playing the second Caracas that turn rather than the second port, so that if my opponent plays Emery, I free up that mana. But I think it's okay. Like, I end up in the same spot next turn. Shadow Spear is fine. This Mox Opal is now turned on for what that's worth. Okay. Relevant. I'll take my 1. Now this can go up to 3. Start working towards Recruiter nonsense. Alright, so always bounce Emery. Always this. I think always this still. Crash in for 7. I think I now beat a Kappa that sneaks into play. Like, I think that's okay. Wobble's fine. My opponent doesn't go for the Shadow Spear equip attack. I have lethal. I have 5, 6, 7, 8. This is my 9th point. Okay, they are going for the equip. So next, are they going for the attack? They are going for the attack. Alright. I'm at 15, they're at 11. I didn't board in the Walking Ballista, did I? No. I'm going to go ahead and tap this in. I think I'm just getting a Flicker Wisp. Yeah. Take a quick look at other options. But just Flicker Wisp off Vial seems just very safe. Then I have double port my opponent. Alright, you draw your card. Never tick that up. Oh, that's not a bad draw either. I don't mind that. And all of those. That puts my opponent to 4, down to 2. So I get to port both of these lands with 4 mana. I think I'm just going to reduce my opponent's artifact count here and further choke their mana. I'm going to go 2 mana and attempt to Source of Plowshares that. It's going to resolve 100% of the time. That takes them off of Metalcraft. Now I'll keep this Caracas. Oh, that does put them back to 4, though. That does mean I need to port this. Oops. I don't think it matters much. And I think I win the game either by blinking out a further mana source or just by holding back the Flicker Wisp. So I think in that situation, I'm just going to hold back. Okay. 3-0, folks. 3-0. I want my $300, baby. Let's do it. Getting round 4 with a frowny face. And let me explain why. Let me explain why I'm beginning this round with a fucking frowny face. I've fought tooth and nail for some W's in this. And now I've gotten paired against a dedicated fucking Elves player, which is the deck's worst matchup. Okay. I'm going to keep this hand. And I'm going to hope that my opponent isn't playing Elves. Because if my opponent is playing Elves, I am probably losing regardless. And if they're not playing Elves, this hand is amazing. Yeah, okay. GG's. Well, this trophy challenge was fun. Let's do one of these again sometime soon. Oh, that is very disappointing. I'll play out to the best of my ability here. Is this still Vile? No, I drew Stoneforge. Need more land. Not gonna have time to cycle Timeless Dragon. Awkward. Still Vile. Yeah. Regardless of which version of Death and Taxes I was playing, though, like, we don't... You don't win this matchup. This is the matchup you try to dodge. This is like, this shit can just happen. Fuck me. Alright. Cool. That's, the thing that has just occurred. I have to plane cycle here. Probably have to plane cycle here. Plane cycle so I can Skyclave, get rid of Collector Oof next turn. put in Stoneforge and attempt Jete the following turn, that is going to require me to draw another mana. That's also going to require my opponent to not do anything busted with Gaia's Cradle. Luckily, we know Elves does not ever do anything busted with a Gaia's Cradle. So I don't think we have anything to worry about there. 4 mana? 2 mana. Visionary. 5 mana. Natural Order me. End my suffering. Oh, no. Riot Arbor. Sure. Then Natural Order. Concede. Alright. Good news, it won't take too long for us to lose this one. Then we can just round out the league and go for the 4-1 finish. Alright, these are coming in. There's some other cards here that I can consider. Deafening Silence is non-creature, by the way, so like you can technically bring it in here and it does some stuff, but So it's mostly a question of like, do I want to be able to have another Council's Judgment for something like a Progenitus or an Archon that comes into play? Do I want to have the Solitude as another free early removal spell? Do I want to have Cataclysm for them going wide? The unfortunate answer, honestly, is like it doesn't matter though. Their deck is just so good against my deck. This is one of those matchups that is like legitimately a 70-20 or better for them, probably or better. And you can't say that very frequently in Legacy, while like being genuine. Timeless Dragon comes out. Get me a Solitude. Batterskull's not frequently relevant. Flickerwisp is medium. Flickerwisp is a flyer, though, which matters for getting Jete connections. I want this other Solitude. Just have another way to just take literally any elf out of play early. I'm gonna begrudgingly keep the Batterskull. It's like not great, but sometimes you need that life gain. Oh, oh no. There's all the right stuff. Doesn't have a second land. It's so good if I draw the second land. It's so good if I draw the second land. 22 out of 53. Really only one draw to do that. I'm gonna mulligan. This is considerably worse than the last hand, but this one plays magic. Reluctant keep, I think pitching Flickerwisp. Mom might be worse, actually. Mom might be worse. Because in the games where I win, I'm surviving for a lot of turns, and when I survive for a lot of turns, I would love to have Flickerwisp to get in the air, or just, like, blink out another land. I want my opponent to just play a 1 toughness creature that I can kill with Walking Ballista this turn. I will absolutely just take the 1-for-1 here. Need time for this Ether Vial to tick up and start doing its thing. I also need to just, like, rip a Stoneforge Mystic or something. But, one thing at a time here. Right. Walking Ballista. Thing that Dryad Arbor. Alright. I can port that down for a while. Unclear whether or not porting that down is going to be better than just removing creatures, though. Love to draw Wasteland. Not a Wasteland. This turn's real awkward. I think I just have to poke this guy's Cradle this turn, unfortunately. Things start to look good for me next turn. They're just not good currently. Like, porting this guy's Cradle is awkward because my opponent can just, like, Reclaimer and end up with another... Ooh. Mana? Upkeep 3 mana is super weird. Are we dealing with a crop rotation here? Excuse me? What? What? Okay, I guess this was just disappearing anyway. Fucking wild. Yeah, that would have been a very interesting attack. Probably the kind way to put that. Let's use this ability. I'm trying to think if I want to Skyclave twice here. Feels like the answer should be yes. This is old formatting, right? So I can do the Flickerwisp trick? Yeah, I believe this is old formatting, so I can do the trick. Skyclave. Exile one of these things. Yeah. Yes. Flickerwisp. Flickerwisp that out. That does the return trigger. Exile trigger resolves. Burn this. Strong Heritage Druid. Nice Urza Saga. I think my opponent's strange experimentation here might have cost them a game. They're not floating a mana. Yeah, I'm so done with this Aether Vial. Absolutely. Yep. Oh, they're naming port. That's very good, especially considering I have another one in hand that they don't know about yet. Nice. Absolutely get wrecked. This is 5 damage. Let's mount to 15. I will do a fun little Flicker Wisp trick here. So we Flicker Wisp our Flicker Wisp. Go to end step. And we do a Flicker Wisp. And I'm not sure that I need to junk Gaia's Cradle this turn. It's not super good right now. I can wait a turn, but I'm just going to do it now. Okay. Fine. That's fine. Got your second Dryad Arbor there. Get your Cradle back. I can still lose this game. This hits in for 8. Which unfortunately is my opponent at 7, and that's a very bad number for me because I have 6 in the air next turn. Let's see how bad this goes. Like, I guess I'm most scared of Glimpse, yeah. Alright. Let's yield to this. So the good thing is the Cradle has to tap here. That's the thing that's nice for me. Now my opponent can bounce that Visionary, or sorry, bounce that Reclaimer, untap the Dryad Armor, replay it, and then their chain stops. Unless they draw a new Guy's Cradle, I guess. Or I guess they get one more redraw towards it. Okay, it's a regular land. Yeah, unfortunately, I get 6 in the air. That fetch is not live. Oh my god, I've used my Walking Ballista already, so I can't get a kill this turn. Help! Alright. Is there anything that gets me a kill this turn? I don't have Sword of Fire and Ice. Used Walking Ballista. Really? Do 6 damage. Get Skyclave. Skyclave Pithing Needle. Get Gaia's Cradle. Is pretty damn good. I also have Sanctum Prelate. I also have Sanctum Prelate on 4. Oh, wait. I also have Stoneforge for Jete. Remove double Wirewood Symbiote. I think I like that. Rooter. Yes. Stoneforge. Play it. Yes. Jete. Cast it. There's also the Containment Priest line. Containment Priest line was better. Containment Priest line starts being dead to Green Sun some portion of the time, though. I could sit there and think about it, or just live with the decision that I've already made. Probably what I have to do. I've thought about that for half a second. Sooner, I don't usually play Containment Priest in my board. Not just dead to natural order, though. Sure. That's fine. That's a good sign for me. Okay. Taking it to game 3. Anything changed now that I know that my opponent has Urza Saga? Not really. My opponent crazy Urza Saga deck list accessible? No, it's not. But they've played a lot of really, really questionable cards in their land slots, like Golgari Rot Farm. Do I want to have 2 more Council Judgments on the draw, or do I want Cataclysm on the draw? I'm going to leave the deck as is. I'm relatively happy with the stuff that's in the deck, like, you know, relative to what I can have to offer anyway. Absolutely fucking keep. Alright. There's a snowball's chance here, folks. Absolutely. Alright, you got your Dryad Arbor. Got a Wasteland. I want to Wasteland a Cradle more than I want to Wasteland a Dryad Arbor. I can't Wasteland a Forest. And I can't Wasteland whatever elf my opponent plays next. Right? So, like, there's a world where my opponent goes land 2 cards, and I just Swords 1, Solitude the other. I think in that world, I want to have not used a removal spell on a creature here. Absolutely. Oh, is that it? Very good for me if that's it. Absolutely just Swords to Plowshares this right now. And then I can attempt to get Stoneforge Jitte online or Stoneforge Aldra online. Yep. I will Solitude this immediately just to keep the board empty. Always playing this. I am always evoking this, pitching Flicker Wisp. That just kills Birch Lore. That's worth 2 cards. Next turn, I almost always Sanctum Prelate on 4. I think I'm just going to get Jitte here, because like I have a play set up for next turn. The world where Jitte is rough is the world where my opponent has Collector Oof in hand. I think I'm going to ignore that timeline, though. Okay. Fine. That's good. Now, go ahead and do this. Set that to 4, so I can't die to natural order. And then I'll try to set up Jitte counters and start chipping away at my opponent's creatures. Fine. This turn can be dangerous because my opponent's up to 3 mana now for Heritage Druid-based reasons. But if they tap these, then Stoneforge has an easier time getting in. Can you play another elf? Or I guess you could... Oh. Okay. Sure. There's an untap. Replay that. My Jitte is not great currently. Alright. So now I need a flyer. Now I need to be able to actually get in red zone. That's very good. If I go Jitte equip, my opponent just like blocks and bounces, and it's not good for me. This shuts off Glimpse. Pretty happy with that draw. This is 1. Now I just port down Gaia's Cradle and try to wiggle into a spot where I can connect with Jitte. Boarded out Mom. No, I haven't boarded out Moms. A little hard to get into play. 3 mana, sure. That's bouncing the Visionary. Crack your map. Gonna get a new Cradle since I'm gonna port this one down. Ooh, Boseiju. Boseiju is gonna answer my Chalice. Or potentially my Jitte. But I imagine opponent wants to answer this Chalice. Not right now. Okay, they might be keeping Boseiju to beat Jitte. Sure. Oh, this is gonna be a slug. Okay. Alright, that's fine. Misty grows Elvish Reclaimer to a 3/4. Which is absolutely relevant here. Okay, sure. Replay that. My opponent can start attacking with a 3/4 Elvish Reclaimer if they feel safe. But they also want to keep up Boseiju, I guess. So that's fair. Holy fucking shit. That's so good! That's very good. I think it's worth doing on 2. It's close, because this. I think it's still worth doing on 2. Alright. So, we kill the Wirewood Symbiote. Alright, so are you gonna Boseiju me, or are you gonna... Alright, you're gonna take a bounce. Fine. Alright. I want to pass priority here. And see if my opponent uses their mana for getting rid of my Chalice. Oh shit, I should have left Rashat and Port up instead of Caracas. Seiju would have given me a land. Fuck. Okay, they're going for a search instead. Getting an Urza Saga. Okay. So I'm always attacking for the 3 here, I think. When it's at 17. As it stands now, if I leave my opponent with those elves, I can run into Green Sun for natural order, right? 3, 4, 5 easily. I probably have to like begrudgingly do this. I have a lot of draws that will break this game wide open. Need to find a place to get this Jitte into play. Fine. 3 mana. Okay, they're gunking the Chalice. I get this out. I attacked with this. Oh wow, they're glimpsing. Alright. Since I attacked with the Stoneforge, I don't get to put Jitte in. In bad shape. Those are just 3/4s that will just beat me to death. Or you have like an Elvish Visionary left or a Green Sun. Grist. Oh no. Grist answers Sanctum Prelate. Or not. I'm in danger to just dying to aggro. I probably have to Stoneforge for Batterskull. And then port down Gaia's Cradle. That doesn't feel good. Is there a world where it's Cauldra instead? And hardcast the Batterskull if the Stoneforge dies. Trample's definitely relevant. Need this life. I think I'm dead regardless, right? Because like my opponent has absolutely just opened up all of the cards. Like Grist opens up Natural Order. They also can just like make double construct, Pithing Needle my Jitte or my Stoneforge. Be in a very good situation. Okay. Yeah. And like the Pithing Needle potentially on Stoneforge is another reason. Oh wow, there's going on port. Okay. Is it the Flicker Wisp or the Prelate? The Prelate. And I'm just dead to the Natural Order. Okay. Alright. They just failed to find. Just failed to find. Doesn't matter. Ugh. I fought so fucking hard. Like, I brought that to turn 8 versus elves. But I could not quite get there. GG's. My trophy run is shattered. I'll keep this opening hand. It's medium. I'm gonna start by playing out a Caracas and hope that that kind of baits my opponent into wastelanding one, since I do have the second. Alright. Caracas, Vile, go. Opponent mulliganed once. They could be doing something unfair. Find out. Cover Island could be unfair. Also could be fair. Probably just porting this turn rather than casting Thalia. Yeah, especially now that I drew a Mom. Fricked my opponent's mana. And see where we go. Oh no, friend. This is not going to go well for you. Alright. Upkeep. Pick that up for Thalia. Yeah. I'm just going to go ahead and put this Thalia in. Outside of some super fringe stuff, there's not going to be anything that punishes me for a Mom attack here. Okay, yep. Alright, cool. Alright, we're playing against Snow-Covered Island. Opponent has no 5-0 results, so I get nothing to go off of. Fuck is my opponent? Right? They only played Snow-Covered Island, and they kept that hand on 6. Like, are they a combo deck that was like 1 mana away from going off, and so I should board like Challenges and Deafening Silences? Or what? I think I'm gonna board out Jitte and Timeless Dragon for 2 Chalice of the Voids. And call that good. Like, I've boarded out Timeless Dragon all of the rounds, it probably shouldn't be in the deck. And Jitte is probably not great versus most snow-covered island decks that would keep a hand like that, right? Like, it's either combo or control, and I don't super want Jitte versus either of those. Like, I can hedge harder for certain things, but I risk having bad cards in my deck. And I'm okay with, like, taking out 2 bad cards for 2 other bad cards. This is gonna be a mulligan. I don't know what I'm playing against, but, like, this isn't it. I love this hand. I think I'm just gonna pitch Swords to Plowshares and keep my mana here. Opponent has mulligan to 5. They're up to no good. Alright, so are we doing show and tell shit? We're doing show and tell shit. Put in Spirit of the Labyrinth here. My opponent has Grizzlebrand, I don't want them to draw. Or if they just have an Omniscience, I don't want them to be able to draw after that. Damn it! That was a hell of a 5-card hand. If my opponent's deck is constructed properly, this should lead to an Emrakul this turn. Yep. That's Firemind's Foresight. Get another Cunning Wish and 2 other cards. Doesn't matter what the 2 other cards are. Cunning Wish, Abrade, Brainstorm. Sure. Okay. So then this one will get, what is it? Eldamri's Call. I always pronounce that word wrong. Or it gets Intuition, sure. Brainstorm. Oh, they just found an Emrakul. Okay. I'm not technically dead to this, right? Like, I can draw a Solitude. Like, this doesn't annihilate any permanents. Although, I guess if they have an Intuition in hand, Force of Will just beats me. Or second Emrakul beats me, I guess. If they have 4 Emrakuls. Okay, Grizzlebrand. I think that also just beats me, though. That's good enough. At this point, like, ripping Solitude isn't an out. Okay, now I know what my opponent is doing. The Deafening Silence needs to be in here. And Solitudes need to be in here. Containment Priest needs to be in here. These cards are playable, but eh. So Jitte being out is fine. Timeless Dragon being out is fine. My opponent is probably mono blue rather than blue red this time. That actually makes things harder. Means that this might not be reasonable. Or no, they showed me a braid, so they do at least have red sideboard cards. I don't know whether or not they have sneak attacks. Guess I'll play as if they do. Also, Judgment can do things when combined with Deafening Silence. Yes, I'll play it. That means I have to board a lot. Swords isn't great. Solitude is a major upgrade in that regard. Bomb's not great. Bomb's especially not great when you bring in Chalice. Play like this. Absolute keep. Stands very good. This is Deafening Silence into Chalice on 1 into Stoneforge. My opponent did not mulligan into Oblivion this time. Okay. Fine. I like seeing wastelandable lands. Like, I don't have the wasteland currently, but, like, I like that that's a thing that's on the other side of the battlefield. Absolutely attempt Chalice on 1. Alright, it's happened. I can beat Omniscience in some cases off Show and Tell now. But I have, like, Deafening Silence and a Council Judgment in hand. Alright. So you're telling me there's a chance. Yes. Aldra. So I lose to, like, the Show and Tell with Force of Will protection. Like, that's gonna be the thing that beats me. Okay, that's fine, unless you have Spirit Guide. In which case it is very much not fine. Alright. Do you have the counterspell to protect this? Damn it. Alright, at this point, we unfortunately probably lose. But I played 2 hate cards and had an answer to their combo, but they had the Force of Will. Not much to be done there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have to keep 1 permanent. Probably have to keep a land and then play Aether Vial. Alright. I'm at 5. Okay. My opponent's cantrips are just so incredibly powerful now. Like, that Emrakul also just gets shuffled back into the deck, so that's 1 more out for them. That's tough. My opponent did not play any cantrips on their turn. Right? If they have a Ponder or a Preordain, they almost certainly cast those. So I'm not going to play Deafening Silence. I'm going to play Aether Vial. Because I have to win this game. If I don't start working towards trying to win this game, my opponent will kill me. Okay, so they just have Intuition. Or they have Cunning Wish. Or Cunning Wish gets like an Intuition and then I die. Yep. Okay, yeah, so playing Deafening Silence would not have stopped that, unfortunately. Just, oh, they had more than enough mana. Probably clowned me with Firemind's Foresight there, honestly. Alright, there's the triple Emrakul, and I will concede. So we end up with a 3-2 in this league. What a tough fucking league, though. Like, oh my gosh. That is not a favorable set of pairings for Death and Taxes, obviously. Deck itself felt fine. I think that because a couple of people are very vocal about Yorion Taxes being better than 60 card Death and Taxes, not a lot of people are putting work into 60 card Death and Taxes, but like Thomas Enevoldson did fine with the deck. Like, this was a very, very, very difficult set of pairings, and I did fine with this deck. Like, nearly putting up wins versus elves and like putting up a very good fight versus another difficult matchup in round 5 there. Like, I was very happy with this deck list. My brain's kind of mush because I have a head cold here, and that was a mentally taxing league that required a lot of thought. Overall thoughts on the deck list, good. If I were to run this back, I would make some small changes. I would properly split the snow cover plains with regular plains. I would cut Timeless Dragon for something else. I'm not sure what, because I was pretty happy with the things that I had access to. Like, Timeless Dragon is a 5th flyer, which is relevant, but I just boarded this out in every single round. Admittedly, we played against a lot of combo where you can't take time off to plane cycle, though. Like, if you're playing against Delver like where you will drag the game on, or you're playing against control where you will drag the game on. Like maybe this is fine. But this was a very, very, very combo heavy league, as was my previous league, if memory serves. And I am just like not convinced that this card is playable in Legacy. Maybe it's a little better in the Yorian builds where you do like maybe want that extra half a land because you have all these 5 drops you want to be casting. But I'd maybe consider like another recruiter, another Spirit of the Labyrinth, or like a Lion Sash or something like that to round out the main deck over that. I also personally often play 2 Caracas over 3. That's just a preference thing. I don't like destroying my own lands to the legend rule. Sideboard was okay. Sort of like with the Yorian build, like it's very much dedicated, like towards combo first, fair stuff second. I wonder how good the cataclysms are. Like, I'm not sure if you need that effect. It's fine, but I've always felt like a lot of the go wide decks rebuild faster than you do in a lot of situations. So I don't know if I'd play those again. I might even like you're a little harder towards playing anti-combo things, or like maybe play a more proactive threat like a Gideon or something like that. I don't know. I'd have to really sit down and think about it. I'll probably write up a big thing and put it on Patreon, like on some of my current thoughts on Death and Taxes after playing a few leagues. But it felt really good to kind of get back in the saddle and play again. Like I had a 4-1 that was a 5-0. I had a 3-2 here that was like a very hard league. Like that was a well fought 3-2. And then I think like a 1-4, like the other league didn't go well. Like I'm pretty happy with that performance overall, and I hope you guys enjoyed this challenge. If you did, throw me a like, throw me some comments on your way out, and have a great rest of the day. Um, I'll probably take a brief hiatus from content as I finish kind of getting over my cold. Content will return sometime soon. See ya.